We're going to cover the kind of three zones of wrestling. So the first is if we're going to takedowns, but we're from the open, right? So I'm not actually trying to touch him, he's not trying to touch me. And the game is played here with a lot of like fakes in motion. So I'm going to be moving, faking, and that's where I'm going to be setting my opponent up to try and take him down through the open. I can get him reaching, boom, right? If I can get him reaching, right? That's the way the game is played from the open. So that's kind of like the first zone of the takedown game. The next zone is when we get a little closer, and this is in no-gi, we're hand fighting, in gi we would be grip fighting. But this is where I'm moving him, I'm using my hands to off-balance him, my footwork, right? To do setups to get to shots, okay? So that's kind of like the second zone. Oh yeah! And from that position, that's where all of my different control ties, underhook, overhook, inside tie, collar tie, that's where all those are going to be effective, where I'm actually using my hands to move my opponent, set up shots. And then the third zone is where we get even closer, and that's where we're into clinch positions and body lock positions. And just like the rules from the first zone change when you go into the second zone, the rules change again when you go into the third zone. So here, this position, this is a lot more about controlling my opponent with my hips. So I'm stepping into him with my hips. He's going to try and step into me with his hips, right? And he's especially going to try and step in front. Right, exactly. So the battle here becomes a lot more about fighting with the hips. So again, when we're looking at the takedown game, we have those three different zones, and in each of those zones, there's kind of like different rules that get applied when it comes to how we're setting up our opponent and how we're able to jump into leg attacks or throws. Thanks.